Salam Sejahtera and welcome to My Society. My name is Alvin Sinclair, your podcast host for My Society. To be honest, of all 9 pillars of IR 4.0, system integration is one of those that I cannot really comprehend what it means. Nevertheless, for the part that I understand is that system integration is about digital transformation. This digital transformation involves a complete revamp of how businesses collect and use their data so that they can actually have a new digital business model. So basically, system integration is about integrating new and existing hardware, software, and communications for your businesses by optimizing IR 4.0 technology application. To discuss further on this topic, we have 3 special guests in our studio, and we would love to have our audience interact with us. Do join us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and please do not forget to hashtag MySociety and post your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas, or your suggestions. I will read your postings to our guests and obtain their responses, answers, or even their feedback to your postings. To understand better on the topic of system integration, it is my pleasure to welcome our guest in the studio. And of course, our first guest is Mr. VKK Rajasekaran Teagarajah, the Managing Director of VKK Group of Companies. He holds a Masters of Business Administration and MBA from Monash Business School. His skills and industry knowledge includes strategic planning, project management, change management, business planning, and of course, business development. Our second guest is an IoT evangelist, Dr. Mazlan Abbas, the co-founder and CEO of Favorite Syndrome Berhad. He's ranked among the top 50 global thought leaders on the Internet of Things and digital disruption by Thinkers 360. Top 50 most impactful smart city leaders right in the world, and of course for the Congress 2017. And our third guest is Mr. Muhammad Ali Hajah Mydin. He's the CEO of Penang Skills Development Center, the PSDC. He has a broad experience in fundamental electrical engineering, EE, mechanical engineering, telecommunications, ICT, corporate strategy, and corporate finance. And of course, we'd like to thank everyone for coming on the show today. Welcome once again, gentlemen. And of course, the first question I would like to shoot to Mr. Raja, please share your own experience in undertaking digital transformation for your business, Mr. Raja.
It's kind of a loaded question at this point because as a businessman, my business evolved from the 1940s. When we went into plantation, when we went into hospitality and all this stuff. So I had a very critical problem here is that I'm holding on to legacy issues. How do we now change our mindset in order to actually...
It's been used for 40, 50, 60 years.
Absolutely. And not just the system, but also the people that are running the business. Simply put, if it's not broken, why fix it?
Yes, it's not broken, why fix it? That's right.
But I was determined the fact that we need to see changes, not just as a part of cost cutting, but also value add to the business itself. Take for example, we run hospitality line at a couple of hotels, and we thought now's the right time to actually kind of introduce cloud-based system, IoT devices, and also cybersecurity to actually kind of boost out our businesses and all that stuff. And to the extent, what is the outcome of it?
That's right.
We wanted to have a very seamless way of check-in for the guest itself. That's one of the problems that I think most hotels have. How long do I have to wait at the counter in order to get to my room? So we have now devised or had a system integration of getting the cloud-based system, also the IoT devices and artificial intelligence to allow for the person to self-check-in. To the extent where all he has to do is key in his code, and he will be automatically given a QR code to access his room. So that actually worked for us. That is the outcome that we actually wanted for the hotel industry itself. End of the day, we wanted to have a value add for the hospitality. A lot of people will question isn't that expensive?
Yeah, it sounds expensive.
But if you look at it as how do I reduce my labor cost?
Yes.
So we have to look at it on the other side of the
On the business side of
balance
things,
sheet,
like,
yeah.
yes.
So this is how we actually kind of change
Okay.
the entire business.
All right. Thank you so much there, Mr. Rajah. Dr. Mazlan, why don't you share with us what is actually system integration?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's much more complex. Now it's becoming more complex, what Rajah mentioned.
Yes.
Earlier days, it's very much different.
Okay.
What you can see is that the IR 4.0 transformation changed the way that we do system integration.
Okay.
We just imagine during the early days,
Yes.
where there's no computer, what
Yes.
the business only use pen and paper.
That's
right.
correct.
And it's very difficult for them to exchange information. So now, once you have computers, you have databases, you're able to digitize the information.
That's right.
But it's still on standalone basis.
That's correct.
But yet, we need to do more than that, because there are now we are seeing a lot of multiple systems.
Okay.
You can see CRM, customer relationship management.
That's
You
right.
can see HR. You can see billing.
That's right.
You can see finance. You can see network systems. So there are so many systems now
right.
on standalone. So now the problem is they don't have the visibility of all.
That's right.
So they need to find ways of how to be more visible in terms of communication, make it more automate in terms of the speed of doing things, and of course to optimize things, saving the cost.
That's right.
And of course, maybe most likely if they can find new ways to service the customers better.
That's right.
But in what we are seeing now in IR 4.0, there's another factors that are going to link in, because there are new products out there, new services, and new partners out there. So is there a way for us to connect it to the other systems? So now the system integration is not only limited to within the organization internally. So now we have to expand it further to integrate with external systems together. So that will make more meaningful.
That's right. And Dr. Mazlan, why do you think businesses need to do it now, and how do they do it? How do they understand what is needed and what is not needed for an SME, right? Because they are going to go out there and find a consultation company, to come in and say, this is what's needed, this is what's not needed, and then of course there's cost involved, Dr. Mazlan?
They need to understand. I'm sure they have a lot of pain points doing their business in silos. So by doing system integration, they are now able to integrate multiple systems together. In that way, they have a way to speed up the communication process.
Okay.
So they have the flow between information system can now be visible in other systems too. That's one. Secondly, that's consistent in terms of communications. The data that they are exchanged is consistent, rather than you have half of the data here and another half of the data there. So in terms of cost, of course, they can reduce the operational costs. So with integrated systems rather than you have multiple systems together. It saves money and hassle, because you are leveraging the existing system too, because you don't have to totally obsolete the whole systems. And of course, once we have that, you can have a better way to serve the customers. You can increase the sales. Some of the methods of how to do it, it depends. Some are simple as having two systems together, point-to-point solutions. Or you can have a vertical solutions, integration, meaning to say you are in the business of finance, anything on finance systems are going to be integrated.
All right.
But if you want to make it horizontal though, it's possible.
Okay.
So you become horizontal system integrator, then you can connect all other systems with different applications and software. That's one. But I think one of the most important part also is because the systems have different data format.
That's right.
So you need to make sure that they have standardized format where they can exchange information.
So that's
easily.
where the problem starts, right? When you want to integrate different systems from different enablers, right? Trying to bring them together, and then, like you said, they need to have at least a common language.
Yeah, common language. I think people like us also need to talk in our common language, right?
Exactly.
So someone must have become a translator to do
That's
that.
right. That's right. Okay. Well, thank you so much there, Dr. Mazlan. Mr. Mohammed, as an educator and a change maker you are, how do you think we can educate our Malaysian business owners to embrace IR 4.0 technology like this system integration?
We are into this when we first asked the question in 2016.
Okay.
What is industry forward?
That's right.
We started, it's because of the demand. In the manufacturing industries in Penang in the north, many multinational companies has embraced technologies, so-called Industry 4.0 much earlier, because it was announced in 2011 in Germany, and then these companies, getting the consultants, and then they start enrolling up. But what happened when they put in more technology into their manufacturing processes and productions, right? They are efficient.
Okay.
But the thing is actually only they are efficient.
Okay.
Their suppliers are still not efficient because they didn't embrace. So the biggest challenge is actually how we need to bring in these suppliers, to be efficient. So that's how we look into it. What is this Industry 4.0 and what it makes sense for Malaysia, which is mean the SMEs is actually need to go into this. So the key things in SMEs is actually they always ask the questions: how much money am I going to make? Profit.
How much am I spending and how much I'm back, right? Yes.
If I go to this Industry 4.0, what will benefit me, the company? That is the question. So the motivation is actually, if they go into this Industry 4.0, that need to bring in a return faster and quicker.
So what happens when they don't adopt this technology?
Okay, if they don't do this, they will be left behind. Because why? Now the competition is not only from Malaysia, it's everywhere. Like for example, to get a thing now, we can just order from the internet, right? Whatever other services or product, we do not know from where it's coming. So what we want is good quality and it's cheaper. So without they migrating their processes to the fourth industrial revolution, they will be expensive.
That's right.
The quality will be lower, and people do not want it. They will become obsolete. So it is very important for them to go into embrace this Industry 4.0 if they want to survive for the future.
Very interesting introduction by our guest. This is actually a real eye-opener to the system integration. I hope business owners among the audience can take this opportunity to learn one or two things from this episode. All right, we are going to take a short break, and when we return, we will have the chance to know more about system integration. So stay tuned. Welcome back to My Society. System integration technology is important for businesses to go through digital transformation. It is part of a digital business ecosystem that helps businesses to digitally connect with their customers, suppliers, partners, vendors, as well as their own employees. For that, let's watch a special demonstration on system integration technology in business. Have a look.
Finding a root cause for any problem needs expertise or at least a reliable system that can help to identify issues such as production or planned downtime in manufacturing. With integrated downtime production line monitoring, all downtime events can be tracked for root cause analysis within seconds. With rapid return of investment or ROI and increased overall equipment effectiveness for most manufacturing plants, the systems can help to save manufacturers' budgets as it's just a one-time investment. The systems use proprietary transmission technology that allows manufacturers to run high-definition or HD video, power and camera control over one simple coax line. Video transmission is a raw high-definition signal that runs straight to the digital video recorder or DVR with a live and playback response that is not available with any other internet protocol-based system. Integrated downtime production line monitoring can assist manufacturers to increase productivity and profitability costs, like scrapped product loss revenue from stop production. It also helps to improve or execute normal daily responsibilities more efficiently and effectively. Integrated downtime production line monitoring system can permanently mount high-speed HD cameras to manufacturers' existing systems. It can provide data on every downtime event for the functional and corporate levels of management. The database can immediately inform production team members on specific video footage of every downtime event from before, during, and after any failures occur. This HD video footage is specific to each downtime failure and can be viewed from the plant or even remotely. By the end of the day, the production team members would know what caused the problem by replaying through Downtime Viewer, and then they can identify the root cause and fix the problem.
So there you go. System integration and how it helps to transform businesses in the IR 4.0 era. My understanding of our system is that it involves a complex process and integration, and it's about adopting a systematic process. Meaning for businesses to be sustainable in this IR 4.0 era, they have to take up system integration to streamline the business processes, reduce costs, and ensure efficiency. So my question is, what kind or type of businesses that need to adopt system integration? Let me rephrase. Which business sector or industry that needs to undertake this exercise and how? And of course, my next question will be to Mr. Rajah. As a business person, sir, why do you think it's important for you to actually adopt system integration?
To simply put it,
Yeah.
I would like to have more transparency of my entire workflow.
Okay.
I would like to have decision-making process to be very seamless in the sense that it is done on a day-to-day basis.
Okay.
And overall cost is actually of running is more efficient.
That's right.
And also that accountability. The fact that when it comes to running a business and all, you depend a lot on your staff,
That's right.
on your workers and all that stuff.
That's right.
And they need to understand how we are growing the business
That's right.
together.
Yeah.
So breaking down barriers or any sort of disparity is the ultimate goal when it comes to system integration. And having to understand
Yeah.
the key role that each and everyone plays in the company itself.
Okay.
One of the problems that we actually had is that staff who have been working with us for 30 years, they don't really comprehend what are we trying to do, why do you want to do this, but we have to educate them and we have to teach them that the reason why we're doing this is to have that ease of doing business, and also how do we scale, because tomorrow the option of actually going to the next town or to a new stream of revenue and all that stuff, it makes it easier because now you can actually just plug and play.
Of course. Sathiya, you did mention something earlier about, sometimes some of your staffs have been there for 30 years and, how do you make them understand, what are the other issues and challenges that you face, right, when you're trying to implement this, and how do you solve these issues?
One of the issues is basically a mindset change.
Okay.
The fact that we need to make sure that everyone's on board
Yeah.
when it comes to adopting system integration or
That's right.
Industry 4.0.
That's right.
And we want to make sure that they fully understand the role that they play in the company itself. How do we do this is by allowing for certain technical ability to be developed. So this is where your reskilling and upskilling actually really takes place.
So all that is provided by your company?
By the
as well?
vendors who actually now use the technologies and all that stuff. But saying that also, I've seen a lot of problems where it's really vendor driven, and the fact that it's only specifically to their technology. And that poses a new challenge. The fact that if I want to now adopt a new technology,
I need to get another vendor.
would I now have to reskill the person again?
That's right.
So this is where we want to teach our staffs or the entire workforce the process of the technology. So if they understand wholeheartedly a holistic approach on how that technology is being utilized, then it's easier to actually get a new vendor or new technology to be adopted within the system itself.
Fantastic. Thank you so much there, Mr. Rajah. Dr. Mazlan, I guess system integration, right, is highly dependent on the Internet of Things, IoT technology. Am I correct?
Yes, if you take a look at what Internet of Things
Yeah.
and why is it so important in all this IR 4.0 implementation, you see at one time we are seeking for information.
That's right.
We use internet just to seek information.
Yeah.
But now in IR 4.0,
Yeah.
the information will seek the right person. so they
The information is fed to you now
fed
without
to
you
with
asking.
the right
Yeah.
information.
That's right.
But how do you do that? You want to make the systems becoming smarter
That's
in
right.
providing that kind of solutions.
Okay.
So what is very important in IoT and IR 4.0 is the data. So when the data is very important, it's meant for the decision-making process much easier. You have better insights to do that. So in order for you to do that, you need IoT to that, to collect the information, the data. One of the data, you can just collect it from the database. But there are other data out there, which is like your assets out there, and you want to know the surrounding, the environment. So how do you do that? So in terms of IoT, there are 4 main components if you want to take a look at. So one is the sensors information. The sensors that you attach to the right assets that you want to monitor them.
That's right.
Or the environment in this building, for example. And then you must find ways of how to send the data out, the communication part. And then from there, you need to have a platform, a middleware to connect it, to store all the data.
That's right.
And from there, you have an applications to crunch the numbers, doing analytics, doing some insights. But because of that complexity, you see its sensors, connectivity, the platform, and the applications, it involves a lot of technologies there. So that's why system integration is very important to realize that kind of input data collection.
That's right. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that explanation, Dr. Mazlan. Mr. Mohammed, I know PSDC has the best facilities for IR 4.0 technologies in Malaysia. So my question is, what kind of skills and talents that is in need or now for system integration practices?
When you talk about system integration, there are 3 components, which is basically already exists in the company. Operation technology, like in Rajah's case, they have daily operations they do. And then they also have information technology, which they have used internet, all sort of things. And then they also have finance, which is finance technology. So basically, the Industry 4.0 is actually the integration of operation technology, converge with information technology, and converge with finance technology. Basically, you are taking these 3 technology, put it one together. So now, when our education system is training people individually, for operation, I train operations.
That's right.
For IT, I train IT. For finance, I train finance. For the future skill they need is actually, a guy should know all 3.
That's right.
So the future skills is all about not what title of the skills, is how we combine these 2 and teach them. So it is basically pretty easy if you understand, the concept.
Understood. Mr. Rajah, would you like to add on to that?
I completely agree with Mr. Mohammed that the fact that we tend to be concentrating on a certain skill set.
That's right.
But in today's age, we have to converge all. And the fact that we need to understand every part of the business in order to achieve that combination.
But that's actually a problem that we are facing today, isn't it? People are very focused on owning just one component and not focusing on the rest of the component. Am I correct? Yes, sure, of course. It's a moment.
Why, people say PSDC is the best lab, right? If you come to our lab, you can see future. So we invest money, right? 9.8 million ringgit to have a future, to show future. But future is not now. So what people are really interested is actually how you take current technology and push it up to the future technology. So this is what you can see in PSDC, which is mean your older machineries or equipment, you don't have to throw it away. You can system integrate it.
Yes, that's right.
And build the bridge to the future.
That's correct.
So most of the people who come, they see the future as what they see. But when they come and look at how we migrate the older one to the newer one, this is what they're picking up and implementing it in their...
I think that's what really entices them, right? And if they understand and they know it's as easy as that, right? Just using your current system and integrating with the future system. And I'm pretty sure, 900,000 SMEs in Malaysia might pick it up. Am I correct?
Yeah, 900,000. But I think that also it's not as so easy. Because, some systems, legacy systems, are too old. When they are too old, you don't even know who are the vendors who are actually providing them, whether they still exist. Because whenever you make a system integration, you must have some form of API, application programming interface, a connectivity or connector you call it, to connect one system to another system.
That's correct.
If the current system, you have the vendor who give the connector, but the other part of this vendor still doesn't exist anymore. So you might have the issue of connecting it. So that system you have to replace. But I think it's not only about talent, there are other issues too. Sometimes when your project is too long, you prolong the project, keep on changing, you might have difficulty to close in terms of this project. So you must have a good project management to control it, because you might be having multi-stakeholder.
That's true.
These are the people who, like you said just now, they work in silos.
Yes, they work in silos.
I just work on my own.
That's right.
But you must have a prime contractor now.
Yes.
So a prime contractor, in fact, can take all the responsibilities
That's right.
of managing the project. They are the person who are responsible, break down all the barriers, then they can integrate the whole system.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much there, Dr. Mazlan. And of course, thank you all so much for the input. And I like what you just said just now about legacy system, right? I mean, that's something that we can touch later on more about legacy systems. What is an IoT system integration? We will discuss about this after this break. So stay tuned to My Society. All right, thank you for still watching My Society. Next, we have a special VT on the interview we did with some of the university students. Let's hear what they have to say about today's topic. Let's watch this.
Benefits of implementing system integration in business are improved employee productivity, better business performance, reduced risk of error, and time and cost savings for your IT team.
Industry 4.0 is the current trend of automation and data exchange in manufacturing technologies. It includes cyber-physical systems, the Internet of Things, and cloud computing.
Example of virtual components are data stored in databases, software, and applications.
That was some of the responses we got from the university students. Anyway, we also received a few questions from the public. And here are some of the questions.
Okay, I'm working in a factory in charge of IT department. My employer is keen in doing system integration. Can my department do the system integration on our own? What's your advice?
Mr. Rajah?
The quick answer would be yes.
Okay.
Together with system integration and all this stuff, there are a lot of providers of solutions, and all you have to do is get in touch with them and engage with them.
Okay.
And tell them what are they able to provide.
Okay.
I'll give you a very good example of how the hospitality industry that I've actually conducted.
Yes.
A part of the locking mechanism, they now interact with my property management system.
Okay.
How technology now communicates using the API technology and all this stuff, and all I have to do is put them together. So I didn't even need to hire a consultant to do that job. The fact that I believe that those mechanisms can work together, it allows me to actually have a very control environment. All you have to do is do a lot of soul searching on the internet, and also attend a lot of conferences, exhibition. One of the biggest exhibition in the world is Hannover Messe in Germany. I mean, not many people have the opportunity of actually visiting. It's an exhibition that actually spans over 2 kilometers and has about 36 warehouses. It's huge. It took me like 4 days to actually kind of go through every single technology. But this is where businesses have to spend time understanding and actually getting aware of what is available in the market.
Yeah. Thank you so much there, Mr. Rajah. I think we have another question here.
I'm just a normal person who tried to gain some knowledge about IR 4.0 technology, including system integration. I find that related information to this technology is so overwhelming. How to understand the structure and process of system integration?
Mr. Mawar?
Basically, you cannot go wrong if you look at what are the 11 technology pillars which has been decided by our government.
Yeah.
And then look into what technology pillars that you are in or you may be in, and then look into in the category of OT, IT and FinTech. So at least you can have a good start to start with that rather than you just go learn in the market.
That's right.
Yeah. So and one more thing that because there's a correlation between question number 1 and question number 2.
Yes.
Should I do it myself? Right?
Yeah.
That's the question number 1. I think yes, you can do, but it's very dangerous because this is where there's a lot of differences. We can see established company or country, how they executing, and we do it here. So if you just do based on your own understanding without understanding the whole ecosystem, then after a while you run into trouble.
Yes.
So before you implement anything, even in your department, try to look into bigger picture. Possibly engage some experts on the area to understand it before you implement. Understanding is better to have experts. Implementations can be done internally.
I think we have another question here.
I'm a university student taking digital technology program. I am keen to pursue my career in system integration technology. So, what are the system integration based jobs that are available for a newbie like me?
Mr. Rajah, I think we were having this chat much earlier. What do you think, sir?
Apart from the part of getting a career in system integration, I can actually equate it as being a consultant.
Okay.
Ability to understand the whole ecosystem, understanding the entire business, and it's like a Lego set. You're putting out all together and saying, okay, fine, this is what the model should look like.
Yes.
Whether it's going to be a future and all this stuff, I say yes. But also the learning processes, it doesn't stop from a degree.
That's right.
You got to have the right skills when it comes to system integration also. Some of the degrees that we have in the university itself, it kind of actually portrays a mismatch in the market itself, because industries have their specific needs.
That's right.
What we want to see is not just employability but also deployability. I think this is where the skill sets need to be sharpened.
That's right.
And you don't have to go through another degree course to actually kind of get the understanding, but also the short courses that actually allows you to understand certain part of the business, because you're now elevating yourself.
That's right.
On the specific skills.
That's right. Thank you so much there, Mr. Rajah. And of course, thank you to all the interviewees, very interesting answers and questions too. Let's take a short break, and when we come back, let's have our guests to respond to some final questions on system integration. Stay tuned. Hi, we are back on My Society. I want to ask this question to Mr. Muhammad Ali, Hajah, Mydin. Prior to this episode, we have featured a topic on IoT. And for today's episode, I found another IoT word, but more I to it. It is about IIoT. What is actually IIoT system integration? And of course, my next question is, how can small and medium manufacturers and factories in Malaysia take advantage of system integration?
Okay, IIoT is very specific to manufacturing industries, because the additional I is industry Internet of Things, which is mean you put a lot of these sensors everywhere in the machines and everything, and you get it. So that is what IIoT, and that is actually what our nation need for now.
Okay.
So we hope that a lot of people will look a little bit deeper into this particular area.
Okay. So how can manufacturing companies can actually take advantage of system integration?
Well, it's not for them to take advantage. They need these things pretty much.
Okay.
I'll give you an example, right? If I have time.
Yeah.
There is one sardine manufacturer, cans fish. So fish, when they harvest from the sea, they capture it. It will come a different size. So they will have cut the eight, the head of it, and then the tail.
That's right.
But since they're doing it in an only automated way, they will cut more or less. If they cut more, they wastage. If they cut less, they have to rework. If you put this system integration, you put camera into it, put AI onto it to understand where is the head and tail, and a mechanism, to move. You can cut exactly what you want, so you reduce wastage. So this is where the industry needed to migrate. Basically, improve your operations by putting in technology and make more money, being more productive.
Okay. And Doctor, do you have anything to add on to that? What Mr. Muhammad has mentioned?
Yeah, I think they can take the advantage of what the our current nation is actually now offering to most of the SMEs.
Okay.
So we are very much focused on the digitalization process.
That's right.
So the budget that's for 2021 is mainly focused for digitalization, and also the industry forward is also one of the initiatives that have been really focused to uplift the SMEs, especially in the manufacturing sectors. So they have that budget that they can leverage for them to transform themselves now rather than later.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. All right, we have come to the end of this episode of integrating new and existing hardware, software, and communications. So can I have your thoughts on this last two questions, gentlemen? The first one is, what other disruptions can we expect now from the system integration? Mr. Mohammed?
Okay. The interruptions. Well, basically, even before answer that particular questions, we need workforce that able to execute this job.
Okay.
So it's a struggle because revolutions is happening now. It is not going to wait for anybody. So producing a right workforce talent in order to take up this system integration job is important. At the same time, the industry must be able to willing to migrate. So if these two things can happen, if our government can focus providing infrastructure, funding in enabling these two things, our country can move to next level.
Fantastic. Thank you there so much, Mr. Mohammed. Mr. Rajah, I mean, with what Mr. Mohammed has mentioned, you know, you are in the plantation industry as well, you're in the hospitality industry as well. You as a company, as a business, are you open to constantly reskilling your employees? Because I'm very sure there's going to be constant disruptors out there when it comes to technology.
Absolutely. So one of the teaching that we have now is that the learning never stops.
That's right.
And the fact that at any point of your life, you need to still take that knowledge and sharpen it. So pretty much what we're looking at is that constant flow of information given to our staff on understanding what are the new technologies that are available in the market itself. Allowing them to say that, hey, look, I actually can use that information or that technology in my current job. The other statistic that I came across is basically 65% of the global workforce or market of jobs will be made redundant. So this is a very scary statistic. That scares a lot of manufacturing or the service industry because
that's a big number.
Shouldn't I be protecting my workforce? Shouldn't I be still employing them?
Yeah.
The answer is, no doubt you have your concerns, but these jobs are being revolutionized.
Yes.
They're moving towards a more digitized process of working. So although they are being redundant, but there's a new job that is coming into the market.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to work towards developing.
Okay, fantastic. So with that said, you know, where the technology is, you know, what can we expect in the next 5 to 10 years from system integration? Dr. Mazlan.
So if you look at the era of IR 4.0, even before that, we are each era like 100 years, then become shorter to 50 years. Most likely the fourth era will be 20 years. So what you're seeing is that new technology is coming up. We are seeing IoT, virtual reality, augmented reality, blockchain. You see robotics, drones, so 5G and all that. These are the new technologies which will transform the whole business landscape. And this technology comes in cycle too.
Yes.
So we need to actually get into that cycle, that wave now, rather than wait until the technology become obsolete. Then we become ourselves. So every time the new technology comes in, it will disrupt the whole business. So we need to take that opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. Mr. Mohammed, what is your take in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think, people should not be afraid of losing jobs, right?
It's a scary thought.
Yeah,
it's a very scary thought.
And this is where it's actually scares of people here, right?
Yes.
Let's talk about banks. Before, a lot of people work in the bank. So when banks want to adopt technology, the bank employee go picket, saying that, you put technology or lose job because they're going to put ATM machines in the bank.
That's right.
But now you see what happened? Banks have less people in a bank, but we have more banks.
That's right.
Banks expand, so still people get a job. So if we embrace technology and looking forward, rather than looking into what stops me, look into how can I grow
Yes.
that will faster adaptation of technology, and we
Yes.
can see seamless integration. And the key thing is actually dependency on foreign labors will reduce. More Malaysians will have job opportunity by
That's
going to
fantastic to
technology.
hear. That's fantastic to hear.
Mr. Rajah, the next 5 to 10 years, how do you see adopting these technologies in your current company or in the industries that you're involved in?
I see a lot more automation happening within the industries itself, especially with the companies that I actually run now. When it comes to plantation and all that stuff, they're looking at precision agro process of actually having automated process of running entire plantation using drone technology, IoT devices to actually monitor your soil base, how much can we increase the nutrients based on the weather. So all these things, with a click of a switch, you can actually have the visibility from wherever you are. So this is where I think for Malaysia, the next 5 to 10 years, we should be addressing certain problem statements within the country itself.
Okay. And currently, when you implement these technologies, right, to your industries, are they open in receiving that technology from your end? Because you are doing the implementation. The companies under you that you manage, are they open to it? Are they okay saying, hey, this is how it's going to be done?
Instead of cracking the whip and say that you have to follow it because there'll be a lot of pushback,
Yes, right?
we take time to educate them and make them understand that the learning it's about making the process even more efficient and more transparent. And that's what we are now trying to cultivate. Your teaching starts from the top to the bottom, because we do have a lot of disparity when it comes to knowledge, experience.
That's right.
So we do want to breach that first in order to adopt that technology itself.
Yes, I mean, that is how a lot of technologies, tech companies out there who tries to implement these technologies to different industries. And even in the hotel industry, you have seen so many disruptors, have came in and disrupted the hotel industry. And now we are at a point where hotels have no choice but to adapt. That's the new way moving forward, and I'm guessing that happens to the plantation industries as well, and even in the F&B industry, that has actually blown out of proportion, especially during this pandemic. Restaurants thought that they did not need delivery services, because they are so focused on dine-in, and then when the pandemic hit, they were like, wait a minute, I don't have an online delivery system, you see, now what do I do, right? And they run Hector Skelter, and the guys have already implemented that at the beginning. Just sat back and said, don't worry, we still have the delivery system going on, right? So I think it comes back to say, if you don't adapt, you get left behind, right? Thank you so much, Mr. Rajah. Thank you so much, Dr. Mazlan. And thank you so much, Mr. Muhammad, for spending your time with us here today. We really appreciate all your explanations and your responses to the questions from the audience. And to our audience, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, right? Twitter and Instagram. And don't forget the hashtag #MySociety. I want to conclude this episode with the 5 W's. You can use these 5 W's to check whether you should implement system integration in your organization or business. The first one, ask yourself why system integration is needed. The second one, what are the goals and objectives of the system integration? And number 3, where are the data and processes flows stored on your system integration? And number 4, who deals with the system integration, right? And number 5, when does system integration need to be ready? So my society, let's get ready to become a society 5.0. Thank you and take care.